Rick and Morty's best finale ever. I'm just sure. Watch something Rick and Morty
It's
related.
no secret that Rick and Morty had an uphill battle
Alright.
this year. From a general waning interest in the show as a whole, to the fact that co-creator Justin Roiland was replaced by newcomers as the voices of both Rick and Morty, the series had a lot of work to do to prove itself. But somehow,
really did.
against all odds, Rick and Morty just quietly had one of its best seasons.
That last season was really good. It tied a lot of loose ends off, you know what I'm saying? It resolved a lot of things people were worried about, and now people can move forward with just episodes of crazy antics like the fucking showrunners want to do. Because the Evil Morty story arc came to an end, all that. A lot of story arcs came to an end, which is nice. I don't think the show worked. I mean, I think it's crazy because, like, the season was all about the story arc and resolving it, and like it was this best show, best season, but like they think that there's random episodes like Family Guy does or whatever are better than that. I think it's just easier. They don't want to have to write a storyline, but like it just shows that people want Rick and Morty with story. They want a story that they can follow instead of just random episodes.
In years.
I think a little bit of both works good, but who knows?
And has seemingly won over a lot of goodwill in the process, despite plenty of fans still being angry about the recast. Even I was planning to reel in my coverage of Season 7.
I was kind of upset about the recast. Like, I was like, I don't give a fuck what he did. And I read what he did, and I was like, oh, shit. I was like, never mind. Maybe they should fire him. But yeah, no, like, I was upset, but I was like, I'll give it a shot. And, like, I can't even tell the difference on the voices. The voices are really good. I could tell a little bit on, like, some of the words and phrases or the cadence of the speech, but it's pretty spot on.
In a bit,
I can't
but
complain.
after this latest season finale,
really can't
there
complain.
is no way I couldn't talk about the season as a whole. This year we got really fun one-offs, one of the best major lore bomb episodes the show has ever done, and an incredible character-driven season finale, possibly my favorite season finale in the entire series. So in this video, I just want to go ahead and break down a few of my favorite season highlights, and of course, go over that incredible season finale. For me, one of the most fun things about watching Rick and Morty is Rick's insane variety of high-tech gadgets, and
Yeah.
honestly, today's sponsor is one of the few things in real life that gives me that same feeling.
Red
Today's
Magic.
sponsor is the Red Magic 9 Pro gaming phone. I am generally not much
yeah, I
of a
heard
mobile
about
gamer,
that.
but with this thing, that has changed. The Red Magic 9 Pro is
I
just an
bet.
unbelievably slick piece of hardware. And
looks
despite
really
its
nice.
incredibly slim design, it houses a ridiculous battery that can be fully charged in just 35 minutes, but still gives
wow.
you up to 56 hours of battery life.
Oh, wow.
And this thing is powerful with its Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip, delivering an unparalleled
Gaming
mobile
phone.
gaming experience. It's hard to believe they fit all of this stuff on this tiny device. Look how small this is. I think my favorite feature are these shoulder buttons, which gives you a huge advantage over anyone who plays on a typical
Oh.
smartphone. Though they
That's
definitely
cool.
make the biggest difference if you're a first-person shooter gamer. But this will run all of your favorite modern mobile classics so smoothly.
Oh, wow.
Play Fortnite from anywhere you want with the best mobile experience you can hope for. Minecraft from the comfort of your bed. It looks great, in no small part because of the
I would
absolutely
only play a
gorgeous
few
screen.
games,
I've been
probably
playing
on it
through
if I
Ace
had that.
Attorney on this thing, which just looks
Attorney?
incredible on this
Now, emulators would be the shit to play on. that
BOE
thing.
Q9 Plus full flat FHD Plus.
Like, I would get something like that just to play
A
emulators.
screen. Wow, that is a mouthful, but I mean, look at this thing. It's worth it. If you want to upgrade
Play emulators to text a side chick, you know what I'm saying?
your mobile gaming experience, visit the link in my description and check out this amazing device. The Red Magic 9 Pro is the coolest gaming phone on the market. Again, click the link in the description
It
and
looks
check
really
it out
nice.
today.
Looks like a nice phone. If I ever feel
So
like moving away
obviously
from
I
my
really
phone,
only
might have
made
to get
2
that.
Rick and Morty videos over this season, one covering the premiere, primarily to talk about the new voice actors, and another
Yeah.
covering episode 5,
They do a pretty
Unmort
solid
Rickin',
job.
which was obviously just a massive lore bomb of an
I'm surprised they didn't like. I mean, at the time, like even though it was relatively close in time when AI came out with voice changing stuff, but like because they could have just AI'd the voice over somebody else's voice and just made it sound just like it, you know. But I mean, hey, you know, They did a good job, though. Voice actors did a really
An
good job.
episode. But after a full season without Justin Roiland, how do I feel about those new performances? Well, I honestly still think that Ian Cardoni and Harry Belden are both doing an excellent job and improved more and more as the season went on, especially once we got to the episodes that likely had not done any animation work before the voice replacements happened. For at least the first half of the season, Cardoni and Belden had to dub over the existing performances from Roiland, which gives them a lot less flexibility in their delivery. It's a really tough job to come in and just try to perfectly replicate an existing performance. But as the season went on, I honestly stopped thinking about the fact that we had new voice actors at all. I fully believed them as these characters, especially in this season finale. They both are just spot on in that one. I can't wait to see how they continue to grow into the roles over the next few seasons.
I'm staying here. No, we're Rick and Morty. I'm not leaving without you.
I'm not going to pretend like every episode this season was a banger, but damn did they have some serious high points, especially right in the middle of the season with an amazing 3-episode stretch. That's a Morte, Unmort Rickon, and Rick Fending your Mort.
Who's ready for Rick's famous spaghetti?
That's a Morte was such a great surprise, an episode that was teased in the trailer and felt like it could have been very stupid, but ended up exploring some really profound moral and philosophical questions. On its face, if you told me the episode was about...
I like it when they have episodes. Yeah, work tomorrow. I subbed and followed. I'll check on your stream for sure. Oh, thanks, bro. I appreciate that. I'll catch you later, man. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Rick serving spaghetti that's made out of dead people, I probably would have rolled my eyes. Serves me right. Serves me right up like a delicious plate of corpse spaghetti. When Morty wants to come clean about eating this planet's dead folks, it becomes a massive, booming industry that wants to take advantage of this fact. And when that industry explodes, the planet becomes an absolute wasteland, with the government facilitating and encouraging mass suicide to supply their spaghetti operation. Morty tries countless unsuccessful solutions to keep the spaghetti without killing countless citizens, but the absolute highlight of this episode is Rick's plan to flat out end the death spaghetti industry. One final citizen decides to kill himself to provide their body as spaghetti, but before he dies, everyone has to watch the most important events of his entire life broadcast across the planet. What ensues is one of the strongest 2.5 minutes in this show's entire history, showcasing the most complicated nuances of a person's entire life. The good, the bad, the ugly, the complexities that come with finding happiness, and all of it is set to an incredible cover of Oasis's Live Forever, performed by Katomi and Ryan Elder. I just absolutely cannot get over how well this story was told without any dialogue. The details in this 158
That's the beauty of Rick and Morty and why they do the show really well. Moments like this, you know? It's not just the crazy dumb shit. It's when they go serious and they do like the emotional heartstring pulling, you know what I'm saying? They do it so well, and it's such a good balancing act that they're doing, which is why the show is so fucking successful. There's no other shows that really touch on the same type of writing that this show does at all. Like, I can't even think of another show. Like, there's other shows that have like sad points or other stuff like that, but they do it in a comical way or a way that's not taken serious. Like, when you see stuff like this, you want to take this serious, like the sad parts, or Rick's depression, or Morty's fucking anxiety problems, you know what I'm saying, social awkwardness. Like, you take those issues serious, you know, or like freaking, you know, Morty's Rick's daughter is fucking an alcoholic, and you know, obviously Jerry's like just Jerry's. There's really nothing about it, but he has some points too to where you see like, oh, like he's just a dad. He might be normal and dumb, but he cares about his kids and he's really trying. So like this I like the parts of it, like they don't just shit on the characters completely or just make it just slap shit comedy, you know what I'm saying?
Second montage are incredible. This guy's earliest memories are his parents building with constructs toys and eating jam surrounded by a series of tall buildings. We see how this influences him to draw skyscrapers himself as a young kid. We can see inside his locker there's a book about introductory mechanics right before we see his first girlfriend, Amber. He shows her his room filled with model buildings and structures, posters of architecture. They graduate and he drives off to college while she cries at his departure. He's chosen to follow his dreams of architecture even if it means being far from Amber. He does his best in school but is clearly distracted. He and Amber fight over the phone. He fails his architecture class. He spirals. He gets drunk. He cheats on her. He comes clean over the phone and she is devastated and she breaks up with him. He goes home to try and make amends. She slams the door in his face. He moves back in with his parents until
like that's like people can relate to that. there's so many people who've experienced that, you know? Like, I can totally relate. Like, I had a girlfriend join the Navy, got cheated on her, you know what I'm saying? Told her over the phone, broke up, you know? Like, that's a relatable story I went through, you know? That's completely, like, I can imagine probably you guys can relate to that too, or some of you guys can relate to that completely, you know? That's why it's so good.
Loses them. He finds his old drawings of those buildings and his old constructs, which inspires him to create something better. He becomes wildly successful and eventually finds Amber again on social media. The pair catch up. She's married, she has kids, but they get drunk and they reconnect and they fall back in love. They break up Amber's family. She gets a divorce, and then they live happily together for years until she eventually passes away. He eats jam at her grave outside those tall buildings that inspired him as a child. I am so impressed by this montage. It shows how we're influenced, what inspires us. It explores the what ifs of life so thoroughly, so quickly. I love that this isn't a neat love story. It's complex and filled with morally questionable decisions. It's about how following dreams, following happiness has ramifications on those around you. It shows how difficult balancing life and love can be. It shows how failing at fulfilling your goals and dreams doesn't mean it's over for you. There's always a chance to find something new. It shows that even if somebody reaches the end of his life entirely fulfilled, having gotten everything he ever wanted, it doesn't mean there isn't pain and heartbreak left in its path. It shows how one decision can change the entire course of your life. It's a really special sequence. It actually shares a lot in common with probably my favorite film of the year, Past Lives, which I just want to shout out and recommend. Seeing every nook and cranny of this man's life is exactly what everyone needed to see in order to never want to eat corpse spaghetti ever again. People get so caught up in what they want. They get so main character syndromed that they forget everyone else's life is just as nuanced and complicated as theirs is. This is just a really excellent episode. I loved it a lot.
It wasn't the death, was it? It was the complexity.
I like that episode.
I've already talked a ton about.
I like it when they do shit like that. Those are probably my favorite episodes. I like it whenever they get into, you know, the emotional shit, or you see like cracks in Rick's freaking tough guy act, or I'm the smartest guy in the universe act. You know, I like shit like that. Shit that touches on morals. Like, those are the best episodes. I don't know, in my opinion. I don't know. I think it's really cool.
About Unmort Rickon in a dedicated video.
It gives the show more depth. And you understand the show writers are trying to relay a message more than just make funny episodes of quirky things, you know.
But I want to touch again on some of the stuff I liked most about that one. If you're interested in my full thoughts, make sure to check out that video after this one. This episode obviously reveals a ton of huge important aspects of the lore, like the fact that Rick and Rick Prime were the only two Ricks to invent portal travel themselves, and also that Diane wasn't just killed in Rick's universe, but erased from every single universe. A pretty devastating reveal, but fitting given that we had never really seen any alternate version of Diane. But man, do I love the major choice made moving forward here. Rick Prime has always been a massively important puzzle piece in our Rick's history, but as a villain, he's kind of a red herring. His importance is tied to Rick's past and Rick himself. He isn't the boogeyman waiting in Rick's future. That honor goes to Evil Morty, who makes a huge and unexpected return in this one. But honestly, I've always found Evil Morty more compelling than Rick Prime, which is why this all worked so well for me.
That's why everybody wanted a more story on Evil Morty. I mean, everybody wanted a continuation of that. I remember it was like, what about Evil Morty? What about Evil Morty? Like, and that's why the seasons leading up to this one, people didn't think they were that good, because like it has nothing to do with the story. We want more of the story. They left us such a huge cliffhanger and then didn't give us anything for 2 seasons. It's like, come on, you know, we waited so long for those seasons. So like it was. This season is definitely what they needed to do. It was great. I can't wait for the next season. I'll be watching that shit. I always buy the seasons, so I own them, so I can always watch them. Because like I can watch Rick and Morty on repeat every single episode, even the bad seasons. I don't care. I'll watch them all.
Prime is still massively important to Rick's backstory, but they've basically opted to use him to show exactly how dangerous Evil Morty is. They spent a season and a half hyping up this guy as the next big thing, only for Evil Morty to swoop back in and take him out himself easily, while gaining absolute power over our Rick with this device that can erase any being from the multiverse entirely.
Just don't force me to improve on the design. I can end the Rick experiment anytime I want.
And in the process, gives our Rick what he thinks he wants. Revenge on Rick Prime, only for him to immediately enter a complete existential crisis. Finding Prime was his entire motivation, his entire purpose, and now he's going to have to find something else to live for.
How's it feel? Better? No? exactly the same? Yeah, it always does.
They do such a great job illustrating
Yeah.
this through the Mazzy Star song, previously used in the episode Rick Potion number 9 back in season 1, after Morty's entire concept of
yeah.
reality had been broken open when they dimension hopped and replaced their dead selves, illustrating
Rick had his
exactly
moment.
how much of a world-shattering event this is for Rick. It's just
Yeah.
as world-shattering as that
Yeah, it
was
was.
for Morty in season 1. Like I said, I had a ton to say about this episode in my dedicated video, so I'll link that in the end.
The writers are so good. Like I would trust them to write any piece of like any story. Like they do such a good job. Like I have 100% faith in these show writers.
Card. Check it out
They
after
do
this
such a
one.
good job.
This episode was
Good
followed by
job.
probably the show's best clip show style episode since Morty's Mind Blowers in season 3, called Rick Fending Your.
Honestly, I didn't like Morty Mind Blowers as much as I like interdimensional television. I liked interdimensional television 1 and 2. Like those are my 2 favorite episodes of all time, in my opinion. I had such a good time watching those. Like me and my buddy, he showed me this show the first time, season 1. We, took some shrooms and shit and watched this shit. This shit was crazy. It was insane watching it on shrooms. But yeah, it was a good time.
Your Mort, where a cosmic all-seeing being starts showcasing previously unseen Rick and Morty adventures. There are so many funny clips in this one, including some that I've seen going around Twitter, which I think says a lot about how the show is being received right now. It's been years since I've seen a new Rick and Morty clip being passed around social media with people hyping it up. It's this great runner about Rick making different types of guns for Morty, all of which lead to
Yeah.
some misunderstanding,
So
like
funny.
this gorilla gun.
I thought it would turn him into a gorilla.
Why would you want a bully to be a gorilla? It
Yeah,
was a
why
gun
would
that
you?
kills gorillas.
There isn't a ton to analyze with this episode. I was just really grateful we got another one of these sketch-style clip shows, and that it was so damn funny. Plus, they gave BoJack Horseman a shout-out in the tag.
Nice. Free churro.
But man, the season finale, Fear No Mort, is without a doubt the best
Oh,
of
yeah,
the
I
season,
remember that
and
BoJack
easily
reference.
one of the best episodes in years. It's probably in my top 10 favorite episodes all time. Let's dive into that one after this short break. Hey folks, thanks as always for watching the video. If you're a fan of the channel, please
Short
check out
break.
my Patreon. It's the best way to support me directly,
I
and
like
I've got some
BoJack
big
too.
plans for exclusive content.
I binged BoJack Horseman. I thought it was good. Definitely a different take on animation. It was like a serious show, but animated with a horse as the main character. So weird. I thought it was so weird. I almost thought I couldn't take it serious, but I swear they did it on purpose. They'd be like, look, you can make any story taken serious no matter what the characters you put. Just make sure the story's compelling. And that's what they did with BoJack Horseman.
Content, including
Very
BoJack
compelling
episode
story.
commentaries.
I
Also,
liked it.
feel free to follow me on social media,
That's where it
particularly
was a bet.
Letterboxd, which
Someone
is
lost a
the
bet.
only good
Something, I
social
don't
media
know.
platform. Thanks.
Let me know when you want your check, and if you're here for the hole, it's in the men's bathroom.
The what now?
Oh,
The fear hole, men's bathroom.
This entire episode takes
Fear
place
hole.
inside this fear hole, which is such a great concept, basically forcing the entrant to
Yeah.
confront their deepest fears, ones they might not even be fully aware of before they can leave. But the way the
Yeah.
episode plays out is just a masterclass in misdirection, making you question
Yeah,
whether
it really was. It was like, I love Rick and Morty's misdirection too. They're really good at that shit. Really good. They are like, they'll get you at every turn. You gotta really pay attention. Be aware.
or not we're dealing with Rick's or Morty's fears. The big what the fuck moment is when Diane appears out of the portal, giving us seemingly our first proper appearance
Just
of
good
the character.
writers.
Though Rick and Morty both obviously assume they're still in the fear hole. The majority of the episode focuses on Rick reconnecting with Diane.
I always wished I knew what they were saying.
Your master's thesis, non-human intelligence.
When
Such a
did
good
you
misdirection
learn
by
that?
doing this.
After you were gone.
And damn, do these sequences really tug at the heartstrings.
Yeah,
Diane
they do.
barely trusts
This
Rick at
episode's so
first,
funny.
but he slowly wins her over.
It's such a mind fuck. Oh my god.
And their drunken night out is just such a genuinely cute date. I love it a lot. You really understand why Rick falls entirely into this false world without looking back.
Our
Yeah.
grandson thinks this is happening because my greatest fear is letting you go.
Then don't.
I don't want to.
Then kiss me.
But the end of
Sometimes the misdirection, like when you watch it again, because the first time's always the best time. When you watch it again, you're just like, it's kind of like, it's like, I don't know, plot breaking. You're like, oh man, you're like, they kind of forced that on you to like, on purpose to make you feel like he was actually in the hole, you know? And it's like, you really think that he's in the hole and like everything. It's like, they get you every time. I don't know how to explain it, but it's crazy. It's just fucked up how they get you.
the episode of
Like you're thinking like, it's good writing obviously for one, but like it also is like they just, pull a fast one on you. every time. They just pull
Course
fast money.
reveals that Rick was never in the hole at all, only Morty was. It was ultimately all about his fears. And I'm not gonna lie, at first I felt a little cheated. I had been watching this thinking it was this important character study of Rick, even though Diane probably wasn't real. But in reality, it was an incredibly impressive character study of Morty. Rick's entire relationship with Diane here is a manifestation of Morty's subconscious. I love the fact that Morty's subconscious conjured all of these truly lovely moments for his grandparents. Obviously, he doesn't know Diane, but it also means that deep down, he thinks Rick is capable of connecting with someone on this level again, even if that person is a fear clone that's consuming him. But I think much more importantly, the episode's focus on Rick's relationship with Diane directly correlates with Morty's actual biggest fear. At the end of the episode, with all of the false exits from the hole, Morty eventually realizes what he needed to get over. His fear that he is overly reliant on Rick. His fear that he doesn't mean nearly as much to Rick as Rick does to him. That Morty is just a replaceable piece in Rick's life.
I'm afraid that if I jumped into a hole, you wouldn't even bother jumping in after me.
And the crazy part is that Rick would. Rick loves Morty. This version of Rick loves Morty. And he has that fear, but he doesn't have to fear that because Rick would put his life on the line for Morty. That's his toxic trait. We learned that about Rick. We know that about Rick in the episode where he splits reality like 100 times or whatever. He sacrifices himself, but then he finds a base. He's like, oh, fuck yeah. He's like, I'm back, bitch, you know, and puts it back on. He's like, can't kill me now, God, fuck you, you know. Like, so, like, that was like them hinting that, you know, this Rick actually does give a fuck about Morty, like, a lot.
Just
so
stand there and watch.
And the reason this manifested in Morty's subconscious as this reconnection between Rick and Diane is because that is exactly what Diane is to Rick. Diane is the irreplaceable piece.
You died everywhere. Forever.
Yeah.
You're the only thing I can't replace.
Okay, Mr. Weepy.
Or at least, deep down, this is what Morty believes. But I think the most powerful part of the episode is the ending. Because even though Rick won't say to Morty that he's irreplaceable, seemingly confirming the fear that Morty has now gotten over, Morty may have been wrong.
Like Diane was in there.
What?
Not in a good way. Just trust me.
Through his subconscious and the fears he expressed in the hole, it's clear that Morty thinks that Rick wouldn't bother jumping in the fear hole for him, but that he would jump right into that hole for Diane. And here, Rick actually has a chance to do that.
That's why this fucking season was so good. They really did their thing with this, I'm telling you.
But when he runs back to the hole, he thinks better of it. He actually listens to Morty. He trusts that Morty has his best interest at heart. And instead of jumping into the fear hole to see his dead wife, Rick pulls out a photo of Morty, one he just so happens to keep in his wallet, and hangs it on the wall of the hole survivors. Proud of his grandson for doing something that he probably couldn't have. Just a top-tier ending. So great. Representative of the growth of both of these characters over 7 seasons. I can't say enough about how much I loved this episode. Or about how impressed I am with Season 7 in general. I don't think it was necessarily a perfect season across the board, but its highs were so high.
Like the fucking alphabet fucking number con fucking episode was like kind of retarded. It had nothing to do with Rick wasn't even in the episode. I think he was for a little bit, but it had nothing. Rick wasn't in it. He's like the main character, you know. Morty was in it though, but not
high, and they seem to be walking down some narrative paths that are really exciting. I was so excited to finally get a little bit more information about the Diane of it all in the middle of the season, but then for them to make her presence a major part of the finale tells me that they may have even bigger plans for her, or at least for her absence in Rick's life down the line. I thought we might eventually see evil Morty again down the road, but this season we got possibly...
He wants to be left alone. He's literally stronger than Rick. Like, he's better. He just wants to be left alone. That's his
most badass episode yet. It just really has me optimistic about what they're doing moving forward, and it seems like they have pretty solid plans. Showrunner Scott Marder hinted...
Yeah, evil Morty doesn't have a dependent on Rick. He proved that Morty's can be better than Rick.
That they have major story arcs planned through to the end of their current renewal, Season 10. In an interview with Comic Book, he said, I can't tease a lot. I can tell you we're in the middle of writing Season 9. I can tell you that we've already got a couple ideas for Season 10 that are already kind of pinned. There's a full plan for a full 10-season saga. So if people are on board with what we've been doing the past couple of seasons, we're intending to give them more of that. But there are certainly arcs and cool things and big surprises in store. This is pretty encouraging. It's cool to hear that they're really thinking ahead about the important major beats in the overarching story
like
and
it.
pinning those plot points down. I'm excited to see how these stories continue into seasons 8, 9, 10, and honestly, I'm expecting beyond. I would be surprised if Adult Swim didn't renew the show again after the 10th
they make
season.
so much money
but
off the show.
I
They
guess
better.
we'll have to wait and see. But what did you think about not just Rick and Morty's latest
They'll renew
finale,
it.
but about season 7 as a whole?
Is this gonna be a whole thing?
No wordplay, Morty.
Did you find it as strong as I did? Let me know below in the comments, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.
I stay mellow watching Johnny 2 Chell.
Yeah, such a good show. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. I could watch this shit on repeat, I'm telling you. And I fucking do sometimes. Like, I know everything about this show. It's one of my shows. I'm gonna subscribe to Johnny 2 times. He makes good videos. I like that. He's obviously a Rick and Morty fan, I mean.